Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus, and today I bring you to the domain of the scholars from the edge of time, Nicholas Diak and Michele Brittany. Greetings, O scholars. I look forward to learning at your feet and gaining the wisdom you have to share.
Well, thank you, Hercules, and good evening to you and to everyone that's watching or listening as they do other things. How are you this evening?
I'm doing fantastic. I've been looking forward to seeing my friends and talking to them and finding out all the wonderful things they're doing. And here we are.
Sounds good.
I think we've had some adventures between now and the last time we hung out, and definitely scored some new swaggage.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Would you like to start?
yeah, so I'll start. Lots of I've been let's try that again. Uh, I've actually had a pretty productive month so far at my website. I have 3 articles that have gone up. Usually I average one. So going in reverse order, one of the articles I just posted yesterday is I did a comparison of Hercules and the Captive Women with Hercules and the Captive Women.
Wow.
So the story it kind of is this company Film Detective released the a Blu-ray of Hercules and the Captive Women about 5 years ago, and people seem to not like it. They thought the print quality was terrible, like in its color grading or something. Now, I'm not a technical guy, I'm more into the textual stuff, like what does the movie say? And so like if a movie is more red than it should be, it's probably going to go over my head. But some people take that super seriously. Um, but earlier this year, a different company called Film Masters released their Blu-ray of Hercules and the Captive Women. And so I thought it'd be funny. Hey, there's these write-ups already online comparing the old Blu-ray to like the retro media version and
Mhm.
an Italian broadcast version. Let's go in there and I'll put my thing in. So I took screen captures of both versions, put them side by side, and I have my little analysis up. Basically, my conclusion is they're interchangeable. There's no real difference, except maybe the Film Masters version is a tad darker, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You get into the realm of like contrast boosting and stuff. I don't know, but between the two, they practically look the same. So if you had a problem with the old one, you're gonna have a problem with the new one. Um, I'm just happy that they're both on Blu-ray because they look to me great, especially after all the peplum we watch that are just fuzzy and bronzed out and all that stuff.
Yeah, pan and scan cropped and just not given a good restoration version. I was going to ask you on those two, what are the extra features? Are they the same or are they
No.
different?
So the older one from Film Detective has the MST3K version of the film, a commentary track, a booklet, and a documentary. The new version has absolutely nothing.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Completely bare bones. And,
Uh,
and I think their motto is they're trying to go for it's more important to preserve the film, and that's what they focus on instead of the stuff around it. It's just more important to get a good edition of the film out. I can respect that. So, um, the weird thing is price wise, this one I think has gone out of print already, and this one is pricier than this one, even though it doesn't have any special features. So I don't know. So anyway, I've never done an image analysis. I fast forward, 11 minutes, 9 seconds, capture a frame, do it again, put them side by side. So I guess that was kind of a fun little journey to do. Um, but overall, you know what? We need to actually watch Hercules: The Captive Women for Scholars from the Edge of Time because this is a wacky one. There is monster fighting and lazy Herculesing and women with giant beehives that are black haired.
there's just like we would have had in,
It, it,
antiquity
oh
time.
man,
Mhm.
this one goes to the far-fetched realm. Kind of more of a fantastique Hercules, like Hercules from Hell or Hercules in the Haunted World.
Oh, okay.
So it's more of the magic stuff rather than historic. But
Spunky.
So,
Come on, it's fun.
so anyway, my analysis is up. That just posted yesterday, and we have a kitty that wants to cause trouble.
There we go.
All right, so that's my first thing. So I'm going to pass it to you for your first thing.
Okay, so mine is kind of around comics this time, and
Mine is too.
but yeah, Nick and I went to a couple of comic book shops recently. So I thought I'd share one of those so far. I was very well, I think you actually may have seen it first.
This was in, side note, Glendale. We went down to Glendale last weekend. They have a no, not Dreadnought Comics.
Drawn to comic.
Drawn to Comics. They actually have a little local comic
Yeah.
section, so they're highlighting local people, and this is where that comic was.
Yeah, so this one is called Goddess versus the Mummy of Cleopatra. So I haven't read it yet, but I will very soon. It's appears to be a one shot. So
There's a couple goddesses they had, so they might have
They-
same
they
characters
did.
carry over.
yeah, so there might be, carry over into different story arcs, but this is a one shot. So yeah. Next for you.
I too picked up a random comic called Brutal Dark. I have not read this one either. You'll see a theme here of where we've bought more than we could consume quite yet. Brutal Dark. You could probably guess why I bought that. I have no idea what it's about, really. Even though there's a giant, Grecian helmet on it, it's apparently a 1940s noir story. So the note I have is there's a cult trying to get a magic anvil that has the power of the god Hephaestus, but a
Yes.
private investigator is going to
Mhm.
stop him. I butchered that. How do you say it for reals?
In Greek, it's Hephaestus or Hephaestus, as they call him.
There
And
you go.
bit of-
Mhm.
Yeah, I am from the island of Lemnos, which is the island near where Hephaestus fell when he was flung from Olympus by Zeus, and he learned the metal crafting there in an extinct volcano or a partially extinct volcano.
Oh,
Well-
well,
well-
that'll be interesting.
So-
I'll probably read it myself as well.
So his magic anvil is like the main centerpiece of this comic. So even though it's a noir 1940s one, I like film noir, so we'll see how it pans out. So not quite peplum in the traditional sense, but there's probably something cool there. So TBD on how that one will turn out, but
Yeah,
that,
and
that
it-
cover
and-
is pretty cool though.
Yeah, and Vertigo, when we were at the comic book store over the weekend, the second issue is already out, but this is the first one.
Yeah.
So Nick is testing the waters.
Well, actually, hold on. That's a different comic, but at our local comic book store, they have issue 2 waiting for me. So,
Oh, okay.
but
cool.
still, I still need to test the one. So
Right,
so-
right. Okay, so for me, the next thing that I bought was Kong the Conqueror. And this is at our other comic book shop that we went to is Dreadnought Comics, which is north of us. And they happen to have the 5 issue all together. And this is supposed to be kind of the best series for getting to know like the history of the character. And I'm digging into it for a moment because there's a subtitle to this that of course they didn't put on the outside. Only Myself Left to Conquer. So that is this series. And I am going to do that as a future, like a fifth Tuesday discussion. I don't know anything about the character, but obviously there's Egyptian overtones. So I'm looking forward to taking a deeper look at this, do a deeper dive and discussion about it.
Well,
Yeah,
I could chime in slightly.
go for it.
I don't know much about King the Conqueror either, but what I do know is one, he has a lot of different forms, and one of them was a pharaoh in ancient Egypt time. And so I guess he has just had different forms, and that's one of them. But if you remember, it was like a year ago, I was playing that Lego Marvel game. on the Xbox because the Living Mummy was one of the characters who could be in it. He's the main villain of that video game, and from
Oh,
what
I do recall that. Yeah.
and so like his normal guise is he's purple. That's about the extent of him. I
Oh,
do know
yeah.
that the new Marvel movies, since again I don't know much about MCU, we haven't watched that many Marvel movies, but I know after they concluded like the Thanos stuff, that they were going to make King the Conqueror like in the current story arc, like the big bad villain. But I think some nefarious stuff went down with the actor playing King the Conqueror, so I think they abandoned that. But that's his Egypt connection, is one of his prior forms was a pharaoh, and that's all I know except for in Lego form, I kicked his butt.
It's kind of fun.
Ramatut.
Pardon?
Ramatut is his Egyptian form.
That's it. Yes.
It's like Immortus and Iron Lad, and he has a bunch of other manifestations.
Yeah, so this series I guess is the best one for getting some backstory to him. So I was really excited that they had the 5 issues. They didn't have a trade paperback, so I did do this route instead. So I am looking forward to reading it. I feel kind of, shorted because I think they were talking about doing the elementals and the living mummy in some of the MCU movies prior. And of course, that didn't come to fruition. And now I think the actor that was going to play this particular comic book character, there was some sort of controversy around him. And so they just abandoned it from what
Yeah.
the little bit that I read. So maybe in the future, we'll have something, to show and represent. So that is my second item. Back to you.
So at my website, I have a review of Vanya up. I forgot to grab a comic, so I don't have show and tell for that, and it's probably for the best because I'd probably have to put sticky notes all over it.
Yeah.
But that's the last of Vanya for a while. This 10th issue won't be out for a while, but I was actually asked by the publisher if I could write a summary of their first 9 issues that they will, I think, include in their issue 10 to kind of recap everything. So
Wow.
that was kind of cool to be asked to do that. But
Mhm.
so Vanya review up, but for show and tell, the next comic book I did review, since I'm writing all these reviews on these Jungle Girl comics, since I'm caught up on Vanya, I needed to write about another Jungle Girl. So I'm diving into my giant stack of Bud Roots Cave Woman comics. And so I did a write-up of Cave Woman Extinction. Um, I bought these way back in the early 2010s. But that's Bud Root. He basically has his own Jungle Girl series. It's very cheesecakey and everything. Centered around this lady named Miriam. This comic, she fights a giant Cthulhu monster in a cave. It's all in good fun. But review of this is at my website, and I will have even more. I haven't read those comics in like 15 years, so it'll be a kind of nice to revisit and see how they do. And of course, they're going to be double published. The Panthans journal I write for will be republishing them. So, got to keep that Jungle Girl scholarship going, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. You never know when somebody might be looking for that.
Well, someone did. The publisher of the other one reached out and asked for
Yeah,
stuff. So
exactly.
weird things happen. And
Weird-
here comes
Here comes
Cecily.
Cecily again. So I'll be missing from the screen here in a moment as she lifts her tail. There we go.
It's her way of saying hi.
Yep. All right. My last piece, well, second to last, I guess, but my other comic that I picked up is a trade paperback. I don't have this series, but of course, it's Moon Knight.
Do you like Moon Knight?
I might like Moonlight, just a hair.
I never guessed.
Pardon?
I never would have guessed.
I know, never. So this one is called City of the Dead. I've already read it. I've already consumed it, really enjoyed it. And in anticipation of our fifth Tuesday next week, when we record with you for that series, I'm going to talk about this comic book.
Moon Knight.
So it's the 5 issues, and it's just real quick, Moon Knight goes into the Duat to try to save a little boy who happens to be the next vessel for Osiris. So anyway, it should be an interesting little discussion. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't mind spoiling that now. So looking forward to talking a bit more about it and the Duat representation, as well as, Moon Knight in general, and Mark Spector and his various sub characters. So
Dude,
anyway,
when you talk about that, you should have your Funko with you. Just prop him up so he can be your co-host.
Well,
The Funko of Moon Knight.
I will do that. So since I will be discussing this next week, I will try to read this as well. It's pretty probably going to be a quick read, so I'll be able to do just a quick little review of this as well. But my main focus will be Moon Knight. So that's my comics. Back to you.
I only have one more thing for show and tell, and it's comic related, and it's Thunder the Barbarian.
Yes, I was going to ask you if you'd heard of that.
Oh, well, I mean, I grew up watching the 80s cartoon. I love Thundar. I've got a Thundar coloring book hidden away. I think I shared that before.
You did share that, yeah.
But so pick this up. Haven't read it yet, of course. I'll probably add it to my subscription list, but it's Thundar. I love Thundar the Barbarian.
It's a great cover.
Oh yeah.
Kindle book.
What's that?
I think they did a Kindle book or some other ebook on like an origin story.
I will look that up because I mean, the cartoon, the origin story was he just escaped from slavery and he has his sun sword and he goes on adventures. They're a little skimpy on the before, part. They just launched directly into the hero's journey and not the before the hero part.
Yeah.
I have Thundar, the 3 action figures on my bookshelf in the background.
Oh, cool.
Lucky. I know I've looked up like Thundar Mechos or whatever little tiny figurines and way out of print, way pricey.
Ah, okay. My last bit of info is probably just continuing my discussion over on Ride the Stream, which is a vidcast. But if people want to listen to it, they can definitely listen to it through YouTube. And we do have an episode or 2 coming up in which we talk about Lord of the Rings. So once that drops, I'll definitely post it over on Sword and Sorcery, because obviously that's got the hero's journey. It's got a few swords in there and orcs and wizards and just a few things. People may have heard of it, not sure, but yeah. So that'll be coming out probably in the next, I think, in a couple of months. I'm not sure where we're planning to drop it. So, but that'll be coming in. That's also the 25th anniversary later this year. So
MCB, you've been busy.
Yeah, I've been just a little bit. So anyway, that's it for me, I think.
That's it for me.
Okay, so we've I guess we're going to talk about a movie, maybe.
Movie.
Notice I didn't say film. I said movie.
We are going to talk about, for tonight's episode of Scholars from the Edge of Time, Robo Warriors.
Robo Warrior.
You would think with a cover like that, I would be.
The back looks pretty cool.
Oh yeah, there's the back of it. But there's cover. We're talking about Robo Warriors.
Okay. Do you have a nice little juicy plot there to tell us?
You know what? Surprisingly, I don't have that much.
You didn't do a.
There's a little
on the snarky.
There's a little
okay.
snark,
Right.
but I held back.
Oh, can't believe it.
Earth in the 2030s has been taken over by the alien race, the Pterodactyls. Instead of fighting back Independence Day RV style, the humans basically give up, and they go by the aliens' rules. 101 combat with giant robots. The humans never win, though, and the last robot lies in the jungle. Charles is an old dude, the granddad to Zach, the son of a soldier who went off with Gibson, a Robo Warrior, to find the Earthbot from 10 years earlier. The grandpa regales tales of Gibson and his crew, but the dad was killed while trying to find the robot, and Gibson is in hiding. But Zach is inspired by these stories, despite his mom Molly doing the classic stonewalling. But he sets out to find Gibson, the Earthbot, and maybe, just maybe, challenge the aliens one more time and kick their butts. Zach hacks the internet, finds Gibson, who is possibly suffering from PTSD, and the kid chides and bullies him anyway, calling him a coward that won't fight back. Zach goes to find the robot by himself. Zach's mom then shows up and says, "What did you do to my son?" Then she begins to chide and bully Gibson, who relents and says, "Fine." He goes into the jungle, rescues Zach from quicksand, takes out a squad of aliens, and finds the Earthbot. Zach repairs it by simply scraping some wires together, just in time as an alien robot shows up. A little worse for wear, Gibson pilots the robot and kicks the alien robot's butt. With a change of heart, Gibson is back at it. A one-on-one match between him and the alien overlord's son, Darius, is scheduled to take place. Grandpa Charles and Zach make upgrades to the robot. They find a bomb and an alien virus in it, but they're able to deal with all that. Gibson and Darius meet in the Arena of Stone, which has no stones. It's just a sandy desert. They get in their mechas and they fight to the death. And they do! Darius disables Gibson's robot and gives it a zillion curb stomps, but Gibson jumps over, infiltrates Darius's robot, and yeets him out. Darius's robot falls over to explode, crushing Darius, but Gibson lives and is declared the winner. And just like that, the aliens say, "Okay," and pack it up and head home. The end. Okay, so there was more snark than I thought there would be.
Yeah, the snark meter is up a little bit higher than you originally and kind of gave us an inkling to.
Michelle,
Nick?
what was your general impression of Robo Warriors? I'm sorry.
I can't get that hour and a half back.
Oh,
You know,
that's fair. That's fair.
that's fair.
That's
You know, I would say it was okay. It was okay. It wasn't great. And it does have some pacing problems. It does have some character issues. Yeah. But it does have some good fighting. It just took a while to get there.
has two fighting. Technically
Yeah,
three.
Yeah.
Two robot fighting
Yeah.
and one human fighting.
But yeah, could I recommend it? No, I think this would be a pass unless, you're really into Robo, fighting, then, those type of movies, then yeah, maybe you want to watch it. If you're a follower of James Remar,
James Remar, yeah.
Remar, then who played Harry, who played Harry Morgan in the original Dexter series. If you follow his career, then yeah, you're gonna want to watch this one. But I can't in good conscience recommend this one, and we'll deep dive here in a minute. And sorry for taking so long, but Nick,
I was so let down. Usually between the two of us, we've watched our fair share of Michelle is a little bit more, Nick, that was crap. And I'm a little bit more, there's some okay stuff. It's a bit more vice versa. I have been let down. I mean, come on, with a cover like that, that's gotta be cool, right? No, I apologize profusely for putting you through Robo Warrior. So I guess I should start this off with this. Why are we talking about Robo Warriors in the first place?
sounds good.
So the reason this all came about is a couple months ago, I was online doing online stuff, and I came across a VHS movie just on some website for a movie called Robo Warriors, and it was in VHS, different cover at the time. That's that's what the VHS looked like. The tagline is two gladiators, one planet, no prisoners. And I'm like, oh, post-apocalyptic gladiator movie. Let me note that. That could be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to like a month or so ago, Vinegar Syndrome, which we buy a lot of movies from, they are putting out Robo Warriors, and I take a look at it, I'm like, oh my God, that's the movie I earmarked. And I
Mhm.
read it and I find out, one, it has somewhat lineage to the Stuart Gordon movie Robot Jocks, which we saw that a long time ago. That
Yeah.
one has the dude from Alien Nation in it. I have my copy like
Gary Graham, I think, is
Gary
the,
Graham,
yeah.
which that movie has over, Greek people, and Gary Graham plays Achilles. There's an Athena in there, so that one's all about the peplum stuff. But that was a stop motion robot fighting movie, and I remember enjoying it, and we like Stuart Gordon's work. But
And that's even referenced here. Like
yeah.
characters are based on that film. So that so they're
based.
yeah, we're gonna loosely
This
based.
this movie has nothing to do with Robot Jocks when it comes down to it. But I'm looking at it, I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, it sounds fun. There's some lineage to Robot Jocks, some lineage to Stuart Gordon. It's got fighting mechas. It's at least going to be entertaining.
Mhm.
So, and come on, that cover's cool. So I wasn't expecting, Citizen Kane here. I was expecting a little bit better than Charles Band Full Moon quality, which is Robot Jocks.
But Richard Band did the
Yes.
music, right?
The company that put this movie out, I forget what they're called, but they're the ones who bought Empire Productions, which is what Charles Band owned, and then he declared bankruptcy to form Full Moon.
Mhm.
Well, that other company bought Empire, and that's basically, I guess, how they round up with rights to this and stuff. So there's
Okay.
a little bit of full moonness in here, and yeah, Richard Band, who's a pretty good, I think, composer.
Mhm.
The music is not one of the things wrong with this film. We'll put it that way.
Correct.
So that's why this movie came in. Basically, it's down to gladiator robots fighting each other. And I'm down with that. It's a different, take on the gladiator stuff. There's a lot of futuristic gladiator movies out there, be it from Italian stuff or whatever. So that's how we came to watch this. Well, and then we watched it last night, sight unseen. It was bad. Not like Ed Wood bad, but one of those bads where like you see where the good could be, but it's surrounded by bad. So
I think I will say I thought the premise was actually kind of interesting, is that the Earth and these aliens have come to a point where they are governed by a council that sounds like it's an intergalactic type council. So basically, instead of having wars anymore on Earth, these mechas fight. And since the alien mechas have won for like the last 10 years, the aliens
it's
kind of
not even
have the
that,
right.
though. It's before 10 years. They haven't done anything in 10 years because there
Right.
hasn't been any robots. But
Right. So basically, and this is where I thought the premise was interesting. Instead of having, world wars, losing human life, it is now a case of these mechas fight. Whoever's mech wins is the one that's in control of Earth. And so, like Nick said, it's been the aliens that have had control over Earth. But with this Earth bot, who apparently this Earth bot was like the primo bot. And when you first see it, you're kind of like, okay, I see this, because the alien bot looks really crappy in comparison.
no. The alien bot looks awesome because it's wearing a dragon bone helmet. That's
So
awesome.
so we do get some medieval type stuff. But it has a huge gun sticking out of its mouth. A little odd, but anyway,
That's the cool stuff.
I did like the premise of the film. I thought that was actually kind of an interesting political governing, social politicals kind of idea.
It's an awkward premise, but in more capable hands, it could be a good premise.
Yes.
It's definitely a premise that sets it up to you're only going to get one robot fighting one robot instead of lots of robots fighting each other. So they inherently build it in a budget conscious plot.
Yes. which is good. That was smart.
Come on, come on. All right, so let's get into this. Peplum stuff. There's not much, obviously, but the beginning shot of the film, the movie opens up. It looks kind of like a desert destroyed town, and a spaceship flies in. For some odd reason, that looked exactly like a Jesus film. You know, like the three wise men are following the star to Jesus. Just the way it's shot, I'm like, that looks very Christmassy. It's not, but it looks like it.
Okay.
People within the movie, they refer to the characters as gladiators. They're gladiator robots.
Mhm.
There is an arena to fight in, even though they call it the Arena of Stone. So it's like, oh, this is going to be a fancy place. Maybe something with like
I was thinking
majestic or
stuff,
majestic stuff.
well, or Stonehenge
Yeah.
type of thing, or the Colosseum.
Yeah, it could be anything cool. And what is it? It's just the desert, and they've got scaffolding and lights around it. And I'm like, come on.
Well, they were on a budget.
They were very much on it, but come on.
Anyway, keep
Arena
going.
of Stone. You know what? If you can't have an actual Arena of Stone, let's call it something like the Death Circle. Something generic that you could throw down wherever. But there is a martial arts scene, so Gibson takes off his shirt to fight another Robo Warrior. But that's it. James Remar, he's not like a bodybuilder or anything, but that's your one bit of body centricness. Since this is a robot movie, the emphasis is on robots. So unlike a Peplum film, this isn't a body centric film. This is a very, I'm going to put, not, it leans toward kid friendly. This is maybe a step up from Power Rangers in terms of like violence. There's a little bit of blood, not too much. There's no nudity, there's no sex. It's not that kind of movie. This is definitely more on the kids. I mean, and one of the main characters is a kid, so we're like three ninjas type territory here when it comes to how graphic the movie is.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it being really kid centric, but it really does. Now that you say that, it does feel that way because I do feel like the kid is Charlie, right?
No, the kid's Zach, the granddad's
Zach.
Charlie.
Okay. The kid Zach, he really kind of is the one that's pushing the story forward.
Right.
So he really is the main character. He really is the one that has a lot of expertise with computers, and does drive that.
Yeah,
drive the story forward.
He moves the plot forward.
Yeah.
It does come at the cost of he turns into the what's the dude equivalent of a Mary Sue?
Excuse me, I'll be right back.
We got a cat making trouble. Like the Wesley Crusher type thing. This kid's never worked on a robot in his life, but he can magically repair a robot. He can magically hack all the computers. He can magically dodge all the spear attacks from an alien. So, he's a John Connor type, I'm going to save the world. No one can kind of stop me type attitude. But it does come off Mary Sue-ish. And plus, this is the 90s. And so the kid is very much like a kid you would see in Power Rangers or Surf Ninjas or something, which if I had seen this movie in the 90s, I probably would have loved it and thought the kid would have been cool. Now that I'm 40 something, I'm like, oh, that's cringe. But I do want to comment on the aliens real quick. Since we're, the aliens, I have my note here, as I'm not an expert on Star Trek, but the aliens have these little dibblies on their nose. So they basically look like green-skinned Bajorians from Deep Space Nine, the Kira Nira's character. And that's it. They have black hair like a Klingon and nose dibblies like a Bajorian. And that's what they look like. When they have their hats on, their helmets on, and they're piloting a mech, they look like the Zillions from the Godzilla movie Invasion of the Astro Monsters. So I guess this is my kind of way of saying you can't take these aliens seriously. And plus, they have like really baggy pants on and kind of fluffle around. So they don't look that menacing.
I think Darius, the son, looks menacing, and he's kind of our main villain for whatever. He really is on the road of vengeance. He wants to, show the superiority of the aliens. So, he is not above cheating. Let's put it that way. But he does seem very menacing and very driven in that regard.
So this is where we get into where the movie
They're
has
with the box.
has issues with. What Michele just said is true, but that's all told to us, not
Yes.
shown. This is a movie that's very much in the telling, not showing. One of my big gripes is so much happens off screen. So, like, the character she's describing is the son of the alien emperor that's taken over the Earth. The impression you're getting is like he's a rival of Gibson. They probably fought in the past. He's like the only worthy warrior to type fight. But but they don't show any of this. They just kind of say it and hint at it. And this is the type of stuff where you could show this, have a flashback to 12 years ago. The two are fighting against each other. It comes to a draw or whatever. I'll get you next time. And then he's been wanting, revenge for the last 10 years, and now is his chance to do it. It doesn't do any of that. But that's the type of stuff you need to underscore what you're just saying. And the movie doesn't do that. Other things like so much, like I said, happens off screen. Like they find the robot, but they stash it away. Do you see that? No, it's just out there somewhere. They go back and forth to fix this robot, even though there's like checkpoints and IDs and squads of aliens, and they just do it. It's all off screen. Oh, I just got back from fixing the robot. That's in the jungle somewhere, and I'm in the city. Side note, every location in this movie is either within walking distance of itself or on a bike with a little buddy seat driving distance with itself. Um, it's just a lot of I just went and did this. I just went and did that. And it's just stated. And it just I guess it's the movie working within its budget of we gotta have this happen, but we don't have the budget to film it, so the characters are just going to say it happened. And it's a big disservice.
Yeah, I would agree with that because I was thinking about some of the different scenes that we have that in a way piggyback off of other films that we would have seen, that most of us would have seen in the past. And I feel like it's kind of trying to get you to bring in some of those tropes to kind of fill in where they can't give you that information.
That's a good way to put it.
And it really does rely on you kind of having some context already when you come into the film. So you're kind of thinking, oh, well, it's kind of like Raiders of the Lost Ark, or oh, that's kind of like this movie when I saw this movie. And so it really does expect you to kind of fill in the gaps where it's not able to because it doesn't really have a budget for it. For instance, there's a scene where Gibson, he is at a checkpoint. He doesn't go through the checkpoint, but he's watching others, and they know what he kind of looks like, but they don't say anything about it. But it's kind of a reference to Blade Runner a little bit, and so you kind of put that in your mind, and then he doesn't go through it. Go through the checkpoint.
He's dressed like Deckard from Blade Runner. He's got the trench coat and the hat. This movie, it's not a cyberpunk movie per se, but it borrows just enough to say, okay, that's a shot from Blade Runner.
Yeah, and so you do get these kind of things, and if they just gone a little bit further, done a little bit more to show on the screen, like Gibson actually talks to an older woman who knows who he is.
We don't know who this lady is. She
just appeared out of nowhere, but they have history, and you get a little bit of it. But this is where, okay, a flashback would have been helpful. Something,
or establish her earlier in the who knows?
Yeah, something.
I think I could sum this up. I wrote down, this is a movie where everything is convenient for the characters, but frustrating for the audience because for the characters, everything falls into place because of everything's told.
Yeah.
But for us as the audience, we're trying to make sense of this mix mash and do like what Michelle's saying is plug in all these holes by filling it in with references to other movies to do the heavy lifting for us. And it is work. This is a movie that should be a mindless movie of some action and robots fighting, but it's actually making you work to watch it. And this is not the type of movie, that you watch a Kubrick movie for that. You don't watch Robo Warriors for that.
Yes, this is not an art film.
It's not an art film. On the subject of other movies, the first 20 minutes of this film is the last 20 minutes of Predator. It verbatim is these folks arrive in a jungle. They're mercenaries or army people. They're getting chased by aliens. An alien takes his helmet off. The main character falls off a waterfall to escape. It's Predator. It is 100% Predator. Which I don't know about that, but Michelle's like, I've seen this movie. This is Predator. And I'm like, you are right. This is Predator. I had a slightly different take since it was filmed in the Philippines and it's in the jungle. To me, every shot looked like a 1980s Italian mercenary film, like those Lewis Collins movies we watched and stuff, or Red Brown ones. So I'm actually okay with that, but it's Predator. The movie is Predator.
Yeah, and going off of that even further, you actually stopped the movie because you were like, how far are we in this movie? And we were still waiting to see a Robo Gladiator.
Yeah. This movie takes 35 minutes, I think it was, to get to the robot and another 5 minutes for them to mess around with it to even fight. So this is a 90-minute film. You don't get your first out of 2 robot fights until a third of the way of the film.
Yeah.
Come on. This was a definite get on with it type deal.
Yeah.
The guy's name is Gibson, and I have a problem with that because one, it sounds dumb every time they say Gibson. I can only assume that he's named Gibson because it's possibly an homage to William Gibson, the
That's what I was thinking.
But part of me also thinks maybe it's a homage to Jean-Claude Van Damme's character in Cyborg, because
what's his name? Gibson.
His name was Gibson Redenbacher, after the guitar, because Albert Pune likes to name people after guitars.
Oh, okay.
Because that's an Albert Pune thing. But here's the deal: I can buy Jean-Claude Van Damme in the post-apocalypse being named Gibson. I can't buy James Remar named that. I don't know why. It doesn't work. I don't know, but it was kind of silly. I do want to say this though. The kid finds an explosive in the Earthbot, and they're like, "Oh, it's an alien virus. How are we going to stop this?" This movie, a couple years before Independence Day, takes an alien laptop and runs its Norton antivirus scan to stop the alien virus.
I thought I thought that was actually okay. Good.
I'm just saying we would see that exact same thing 2 or 3 years later in Independence Day, where Jeff Goldblum does the same thing. He takes his laptop, hooks it up to the alien mothership, and does his antivirus on it.
Well,
so the movie is prophetic in that way.
What year was this film?
I think it was 93. So it does beat Independence Day like by 3 years. I think Independence Day is 96.
I think for some of the technology, it's not outside the realm of possibility. And I think they actually, they even do a dial-up scene, which is like, oh, we know that sound. That was AOL back in the day. And he has like a little handheld that's almost like what would be now like an iPad or an iPhone. So there is some technology there that I think they were clever with some of the technology. Actually,
the technology looks good with the robots.
Yes.
The old PCs and dial-up for the InfoWeb, that's what they connect to, the InfoWeb, is very dated, but I'm okay with it. I am actually a sucker for like 90s interpretation of the internet, like movies like Hackers, where it was a different time. How do the Sandra Bullock movie, The Net and stuff. That's
Yeah.
not how the internet worked, but I'm okay with all that. But it is kind of funny where you have a movie that takes place in the 2030s and the high tech stuff is still dial up. Um, I find that
Well,
awesome.
but we don't know, but that could be that because we lack the infrastructure. So, there could be reasons behind that.
That-
But it
This
is
is charming though, at
Yes,
least.
yes, I think so.
These are like kind of the small things that help them. Okay, with that in mind, I'm gonna break down probably the biggest eye rolling scene from Michelle and I, and we will try to get through this part together because this was terrible. Um, there is a scene towards the end of the film. So the best way I could set this up is you have the kid's dad, and the kid's dad's best friend is Gibson. Those two went off 10 years ago. The dad died, Gibson lived and went in hiding. The
Yes.
mom is part of this, and it's apparently was a love triangle, but not really. She says something along the lines of like, "Oh, Gibson, you've always loved our son and you made him toys and you respected that I was in a relationship with his dad." But the implication here is now the dad is dead. I now have a vacant spot for you to come in and fill that fatherly role. And
Since he was already doing it,
yeah,
from when Zach was a little boy. And Zach has this fascination with Gibson more so than with his dad. And he wears this emblem of a leopard that Gibson made for him or something. And in addition to this, Molly, I think it was Molly says something like, I know you respected the fact that I was in a relationship with whoever the guy was. And
even if we kind of liked each other.
But I liked you first before I liked him. But I married him and had a kid with him. But you were great because you didn't disrespect and we didn't have an affair. Is kind of the implication. It is really weird.
It is very weird. And it does open up the possibility that the kid, Zach, might actually be an affair baby. There's that sliver of, are they dancing around that this is actually Gibson's kid? And even if not, it's still kind of weird. I think what they're trying to do is set this up to force a romance angle of Gibson and the mom. But how are you going to do that when the mom was already married and Gibson was the best friend without it sounding kind of sleazy or adulterous? Or the answer is you can't. And so this entire scene comes off. We just like looked at each other like, what? Basically, it sounds like Zach's mom didn't love Zach's husband, but really loves Gibson.
Zach's dad.
Yeah, Zach's dad, but really loved Gibson. But that's kind of what it's getting down to.
But she married the other guy, but she really wanted to marry Gibson.
Yeah.
It's the way that it sounds. And I told him, I said, okay, a guy must have written this without clearing it through some other editor eyes, because it is so awkward and it makes it sound like she's a bad person, and yet it really, and at the end it's like they shoehorn in, oh, look at this, we have the nuclear family because we've got Molly, now we have Gibson, and of course Zach who loves Gibson, and they're all together, and of course her father, who is Charlie, is in the picture. So you've got this little extended family going, and everybody walks into the sunset. And it's kind of like, huh.
It's just a weird scene, and it has to be the writing for it because it does come off that the mom was basically in a two-way relationship with two bad. And the thing is I know there's movies out there that's the whole purpose of the movie is to explore that dynamic of I love two guys and those two guys are I think
I was even
mainly
thinking
like
like
Y tu
Top
mama
Gun did
tambien.
that.
Oh yeah, I haven't
Because
seen
I
that.
was thinking Top Gun had done that in the original film.
The concept is not new, but
No,
their
no.
wording of it comes off really weird, and it really, the movie was already faltering on, okay, this is padded out, it's kind of boring, we're not getting enough robots, and then this scene happens, and it divided us into what the heck, but also really I mean, that's the best way to put
And
it.
honestly, okay, I think everybody in the room knew there was not going to be a sequel. There was no need for them to even go down this road of Molly and Gibson getting together. That it just didn't need to go there.
Yeah.
They could have left that off, and that would have been just fine. They could have all been friends. So
It's awkward.
Yeah.
There's other awkward stuff like,
Yeah.
it turns out like Gibson's commander is a traitor, and it's just unearthed that like, he sabotaged things a long time ago or something,
and tried to do it again, and yeah.
it's like he's in the bunker with Gibson's crew, and he just gets up and runs over to the aliens to say, "Hey guys, they know your plans." I'm like, why are you doing that? If you're a mole or a plant or a bat, don't you be a bit more sneaky about? It's just characters acting dumb and saying dumb things. The mom thing, other character,
The double cross,
the double cross that
I don't think that was necessary
it
either.
wasn't. You know what? Because of these weird double crosses, it leaves the point of Zach goes inside the robot. They find the explosive in the virus. They allude to 10 years ago things were sabotaged. So did the commander guy actually help plant the stuff 10 years ago? Or was that a different sabotage? And Darius in the present is the one we don't know because it's bad writing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's not resolved.
no, that's not resolved.
But the colonel guy is definitely a bad guy and went to prison.
Yeah.
So
Um, we're coming up to the hour. So I want to end on a positive note in that the movie gives us two robot fights. And it does inspire me that I need to sit down and watch Pacific Rim. We have not seen Pacific Rim.
It's true.
And I've been told Pacific Rim is a legit good live action mecha film. Even though apparently it tanked at the box office, but I grew up watching, giant fighting robot films,
Mhm.
not so much Power Rangers, but like a lot of anime, Full Metal, Panic, a little bit of Evangelion.
And I definitely
Yeah.
when I was a kid watched like Ultraman and that kind of stuff,
A little bit of
afternoon,
Robotech.
and yeah, the tech fights and stuff.
And I've played, games like Mech Warrior and BattleTech. So,
Mhm.
this is the era of the slow and clanky robots, not like, the super sleek and fast ones that you would see like in Armor Core. So I'm okay with that. Is the ending climactic robot battle cool? It is. It is a lot of trickery. It's edited quickly to make it seem like more action's going on. Um, both pilots are terrible with their guns. They hit everything but each other. Like, Gibson will like pull the trigger on his little thingy and pew 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 pew, and then it'll cut to the other robot, but everything around him is exploding. It's that type of stuff. But it's fun. Edits and cutaways, make it look a bit more action intense than it probably really is, but that's okay. I like it.
I think for the budget,
For the budget.
I actually think for the budget that the fights are fine.
If I had to redo this movie, it would need a big overhaul, get rid of a lot of the poorly written stuff, and maybe just instead go all out on like a third robot battle. You need to open up the movie of a robot battle. You need to show how the robots got to the situation that they're in.
Yeah, that's what should have been is the 10 years prior, it should have been that fight that led to the Earthbot being hidden in the forest, and I'll go from there.
I'll say this. I don't remember Robot Jocks 100%, but I'm pretty sure that movie opened up with a robot battle. You can't have a movie called Robo Warriors and not have your first robot battle be a third of the way into the movie. And I think it's a good way to sum up this film.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
There's better futuristic arena battle films out there. We'll probably watch Real Steel with Hugh Jackman at some point, which is
Yeah.
probably a better version of this. Maybe a revisit to Robot Jocks. Definitely a watch of Pacific Rim. I think the movie's important as a curio in, there's not that many non-kaiju, non-Godzilla fighting robot movies out there that are live action.
Mhm.
There's only a handful of it. It's an entry in that. I think for historic means, it's probably important for that. But there's better out there, and I feel sad because I was really truly hoping that this was going to be an unexpected robot fighting delight.
And with that, we are going to pass the torch of knowledge back to our most capable host, Hercules.
Honored. It sounds like maybe this was a psychological experiment. Maybe by having you remember movies where the action is the same, but the budget was better, it'll kind of rub off through your memories as you're watching this movie, which is recalling those times so you could piece together a more expensive movie. And maybe all the weird questions or conundrums that they left for you to piece together and talk about so that maybe you get an insight into how these connect in some strange way. And then all of a sudden that brightens up the movie too. So they might have been doing something like that.
Could be. Yeah.
That is way too much effort for a fighting robot movie.
Well, thank you. As always, an excellent presentation with lots of insights into movie. And I want to thank you because I now own the new Deathstalker movie. You inspired me.
Have you watched it yet? We haven't watched ours.
Yes, we watched it with my wife, and I got the graphic novel, but the graphic novel was the version that I got was just the comic books and the special appearance he had in Barbaric as well.
Should we do that for our next Scholars? Just have a talk about the new Deathstalker film?
Yeah, we can do that.
Hercules, I think for April, I think we should all talk about the new Deathstalker film.
That is incredibly awesome, and I look forward to that.
Well, we know what we're doing next month. So
And I
on
will
that,
credit Cecily for her technical skills exhibited during this presentation.
yeah. Oh yeah, she is here. She's getting lots of attention off screen.
Hi, Cecily.
Yep, that's our girl. Well, Nick, how can people find you?
I'm at nickdiak.com. As you all heard earlier today, lots of new stuff has gone up at my website. Also has links to all of Michelle's videos that she's been working on. My next update will actually have links to all her crafting videos. She's been doing a lot of uploads of some of her crafting, which I just remembered. That's one of the things you do.
Yep,
but yeah,
it's one of the things I do.
nickdiak.com.
Yeah. Yep. So, and then I've got an author page. Actually, we both got author pages over at Amazon. So if you want to support us that way, we will not dissuade you from that. And otherwise, we look forward to having a good discussion next month.
Or possibly next week, because it's a fifth Tuesday. So we'll see you next week, and then Deathstalker for next month.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
And before we go, I'm going to give you a homework assignment.
Uh-oh.
Write like a little paragraph about all and with links to all the other things you guys are doing, and I'll just copy and paste it in the description.
Okay.
So people, when they're looking for the description, they can directly visit without having to go anywhere. And you can still tell people about it during the show. But this way we can make it easier for them to follow the link.
We can do that.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Yep, we will do that for you.
No problem.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
Always good to see you, sir.
Good to see you too. Amazing adventures, and I look forward to next week.
Sounds good. Have a good night.
You too.